for the council meeting to go ahead and ask them or answer some further questions if necessary. So.
We need some glue on that thing.
Hmm?
We need some glue
Yeah, I
on that
know.
thing.
Or it flies off.
So, do you have a copy of it?
Well, I was gonna go off the screen tonight.
You can go off this one.
Thank you, sir.
We don't need it up, we can start.
All right. I'm sorry. I expected one tonight. I know better to. No, that's okay. Thank you. That's why I go off the screen. Okay, call to order that we just had. Need to have the approval of the agenda. Let's do roll call first.
You'll have to make a motion.
I'm sorry?
Don't make a motion.
Motion. Call roll call.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right. All in favor? All right. Next thing we have is the consent agenda. To approve the minutes from 1/20 of 2026. Motion?
I move we approve the consent agenda. I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now, will that include the scheduled claims list, or will that be separate?
No, I mean, that's all part of the consent agenda.
I'm sorry?
It's all part of the.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is the opportunity for the public to come up and make any comments that they'd like to. We ask that if you come up to the podium, you please give your name, your address, and you're free to do that. Anyone want to come up to the podium at this time? Going once? Going twice? Okay, we'll move on. Do we have any special reports or presentations tonight? No, so we're going to move on from there. Do we have any old business that we need to deal with tonight? Nope, no, I shouldn't say nope. Then we'll move on. Now we're going to go to the new business section, and this is where we're going to go through and approve the holidays for 2026 by the council. Do we have our holidays up there? Thank you. Any comments? Has there been any changes from last year to where we've added any holidays or anything? Okay, so it's the same thing we've had?
Yeah.
Okay,
Juneteenth got ended a couple years ago.
okay. All right. All right. Council, any comments or? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I move we approve the holiday schedule.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, none opposed. Now we're going to move to the council dates where we meet for our council sessions. Take a moment to review those. Okay. And that has been the pattern in the past, correct? Okay, great, thank you. Questions, comments?
I move to approve the council dates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Okay, now we're going to go to the community garden lease. And Russ, would you like to talk about that for a minute?
Had a lease agreement for the community garden with the BPW. This is basically renewing the lease. This lease would be for a term of 5 years. And it really has no changes outside of changing the dates from the previous lease. We also have, I think there's somebody from the BPW here tonight.
Okay, good. Step forward and state your name. Barbara Presker.
There's a button on it. If
Yeah,
it's not
see it,
green.
Barbara?
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I can hear me? Okay.
There you are.
Barbara Pressgrove, 1110 7th Street. I guess I'm the manager of the community garden, kind of. And I didn't know if everybody knew where it was or anything much about it, but I have a few slides to show you. This is managed by the Business and Professional Women. It was established, gosh, can't believe it's been 16 years ago when we first established it. You want to go to the next one? Yeah. I kind of try to figure out how many people have had plots. We rent out the plots, and I counted up maybe 18, but I know there's more than that, so 35 residents over time. I mean, sometimes we have a couple people that have had a garden plot for quite a few years, and some have it 1 year, and then they find out it's a lot of work, and it is a lot of work, so then we have somebody else. So the plots are 10 by 50, and that's a lot of space for some people. So, okay, next one.
Any questions? Got more slides? Okay.
So this is at 3rd and Lincoln. We have a water faucet, and it doesn't show it here, but we do have a hoop house, which is there it is, hoop house with hoops. And this is when we first started. I think that was in 2018 when we put this up. And it holds in the heat and keeps the soil warmer. And so we can also plant inside the hoop house, although it does get cold at night. So you have to plant things that actually grow in cold weather. This shows the plastic we put on, and we have some of the plots there showing. And I thought it would be good to show some of the people that have been involved. Well, that was me. And we have a tractor, and we sometimes our business and professional women meet there for a meeting. Here's one of our plot owners, and we've had a potluck to talk over business. And oops, there's me again. We have a cat that lives there. His name's Bob, so we take care of Bob. So if you go on 3rd Street and you see this big plastic dome, that's what that hoop house is. We've had various groups over the time volunteering to help. We've had people from Baker. We've had a sorority from Baker. We've had several times. We've had the environmental club come and help. So they're always willing to come and do things for us. We've also had a booth at our community wellness fair when we were having that. So here we're showing kids how to put plants in little cups and take them home, and hopefully they'll grow. Oh yeah, then we have a truck. That's my truck. So that's our mural. We have a mural committee with the Lumberyard Arts, and they said they would paint a mural on the back of the truck. So if you see me tootling around town with that, that's who I am. That's it. Okay, but yeah. So I had a person contact me about renting some space to put her oops, I think that's, oh, there we go, upside down. To put her shed. And I thought are you here? Okay, there she is, Michelle. And she said that she just wanted to rent a plot, rent some land. And I thought, well, I talked it over with BPW. They weren't sure they really wanted to do it, but she really needs to have a place, because where you had it before in Lawrence, they're selling the
place where I'm storing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I live in a mobile home park. There's not a place for me to put it. And I just need a place to put my shed, because I've worked so hard on it. And, I'd like to keep a few things in there, just some totes and all that. And I would also like to be part of the garden.
So we're not sure. We have to find out from we have to have a liability insurance, and so we have to find out if that will increase the insurance or not. In the contract, it does say we can have a building, but I think that's when we were putting the hoop house, we came to ask permission for that, so. Any other questions?
Are all your plots the same size?
We have half plots. If there's someone that says, I don't think I can use the whole plot, then we sell it for half plots, yeah. And we have some raised beds too that people can use, so.
Are you going to check with your insurance provider to see?
Yes,
if
yes, we are. Mhm.
That'd be great, thanks.
Any other comments, questions?
Would that building be used by anybody else, or is that just one that you would be using solely for yourself?
I'll be using solely for myself, just for storage. Simply, I put it on my mobile home lot, except for that there's an ordinance that says the lot is too small to put the shed, so it has to have drivability around it, and that's why I couldn't store it there. I actually did move it to Baldwin. It's actually being stored in Lawrence right now, in a lot that's a commercial place that's being sold. And I would really like to get it here and not lose my shed if possible.
It's a 10 by 20.
10 by 20.
We do have a small shed that we have some utensils in and a couple of tillers. And it's at the front of the plots, right by the road. It's a little green shed. So we have that little shed there.
Go ahead.
I could possibly share it if you need extra storage. I really don't have many things to store in the shed, but I just need a place to put it, of course, because they're selling the lot there in North Lawrence. And so if it was okay, I'd be happy to share it with you for if you needed extra
And if we had an increase in our insurance, you'd help with that too.
Well, I don't know. I can afford $100 a month.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
mentioned
sure if that
$100,
would be
okay.
affordable for me or not.
Yeah.
She'll still need to comply with that code and regulation before she can move that shed. So if you do allow it and your insurance allows it, she still has to comply with city provisions and following the code ordinances and getting any licensing or permits, as the law.
So with the city, she has to get a permit through the city?
I believe that she has to, I'm going to defer to Russ, he's my code
Yeah,
specialist.
so anything, greater than 100 square feet would require a permit for a structure, even if it's a utility shed.
Is this 100 square feet?
It's 200.
Is it 100 square feet?
Feet, but I think your laws here, what do your laws, you said 100 or 160
100,
for a shed?
correct.
And so permit would just me applying to ask you, specifically that I could move it and put it there, and it wouldn't be a big deal, really, would it?
Well, it would all depend on, council approval of it first and then you would just have to go through the standard procedure of filling out, for the building permit for the shed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for putting the slide up there. That's good. Thank you. Oh,
Any other questions?
Yes.
two parts maybe? Yeah.
I thought the building was contingent on that whatever they find out.
I think, hold on, I think for your lease, to make your contract clean, you can handwrite in a provision, and that provision will be a part of the lease. So my recommendation to keep this clean would be first vote on whether or not she can have the building so long as insurance and code provisions and everything else is provided for, and she follows all the state and local laws, rules, and regulations. And if everyone approves that, then we can handwrite that into the lease. And then once everyone has that amendment, then we can vote on the amended lease which I'm assuming the Baldwin Professional Women, if the council approves, you'd be fine with the amendment to the lease. So that would be, in my professional opinion, the cleanest way to do this, as opposed to me having, or Russ, or someone having to type up a new separate lease for just that one building, which is what you would need to do.
Couldn't we just wait and see if their insurance is gonna cover it before we vote on it?
That's another option.
Well, we have insurance. We have the liability insurance
I mean,
now.
for the new shed.
Oh, for the new shed, okay.
So once you find that out, I think we could probably come back and review this at that point.
Okay.
This one's expired.
Yeah, their current lease would expire.
No, we would approve this lease, I think is what she's saying,
And
and
then amend it.
amend it after if they're,
You can do that as well.
Okay.
that's kind of how I thought we should do it.
Yeah.
I'm following too, yeah. Yeah.
Either one's fine, but yeah, you'll definitely need to, you can do it either way. The cheaper version would be to do it all at once, but we can do an amendment if you like. That's fine as well.
I guess my only deal, I think one, you need to approve the lease agreement, but two, with the storage unit, I guess my understanding is the storage unit was gonna be used for the BPW women. It wasn't gonna be used by one individual. My concern is that by approving that, you would be setting precedents for anybody who wanted to put a storage unit out there.
That's why I wanted to.
So I just wanna clarify that.
Yeah.
I think you're on the right track,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Come up to the microphone, introduce yourself. Thanks.
I'm Michelle Lennon. It doesn't actually matter to me whether all of the women get to use the shed or whether it's for my personal use only. So I just want to save my shed from being destroyed because I paid so much for it and I worked so hard for it, I don't have a place to put it.
So you wouldn't be opposed to a stipulation that it would be usable by anybody in that group?
Yes, as long as I can retain ownership.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks.
Thanks.
Each person that's gardens out there signs a contract, so we could have a contract with her as well, that she would keep the shed looking nice, and if they're in repair, if there's any to repair, if that's something that we could do.
Thoughts, comments? Still keep it clean and just do the lease first, you want to wait? All right. Have a motion on the lease?
I motion we approve the lease agreement.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Next thing we're going to talk
Thank you.
about. Sorry. Thank you, Barb. You can come over and mow the lawn of that tractor as well, okay? All right. The next thing we're going to discuss tonight is the pool project. Russ, I'm going to turn that over to you for a second.
All right. So as most of y'all know, we have, as a city, we've put a vast amount of resources into keeping the city pool up and running. We have, over the past couple of years, well, most of the years, we've been using this puck system for our chlorine. The thing we've ran into that some of the guys from the rec could talk to about this a little bit more in depth is that we fight algae blooms with the puck system. They're proposing that we switch over to like a direct a chlorine injection system to help better manage the pool with the chlorine levels. And it would help tremendously as far as waste for chlorine, and as well as shutting down the pool. I think last year we shut down the pool for 2 or 3 days over the course of the season. The project itself for the injection system runs about $13,000 to $14,000. We would have to build a concrete pad to put the tank system on, as well as fence it off and then put a structure over the top of it. Now, it would be open on the sides for breathing and whatnot, so that you don't have to deal with a lot of the chlorine gases and the different stuff like that. After researching through what the money we have, so we have a pool sales tax fund that we have enough money into that would cover this. Now, the pool sales tax fund can only be used for the pool. So we couldn't use it for sidewalks or anything else. It has to be directly for the pool. And we also have, I'll ask Matt with the rec to come up and kind of give a little bit more details, or if you guys got any questions about how that would look.
Matt, you want to step on up, please?
So as Russ alluded to, we've been using that it's a puck chlorine system for quite a while now, and we do battle algae blooms every summer. After about 3 weeks in, we really start battling. We initially thought it was a cleaning issue on our end, but after having some consultants come in and talk it over, our cyanidic acid levels are through the roof. And so the only way to combat that is with chlorine. So what we're doing, we're exacerbating our problem by dropping the pucks in the water. And so we're raising the chlorine level, but we're also raising the acid level, which, like I said, just expands the problem of the algae. And so the only way to really resolve it is to drain your pool down, put fresh water in about halfway, and then add it full of fresh water. And that's the best way. And Jay's kind of our resident pool expert here, and I might defer to him if I misspeak, but that's kind of where we're at. We don't really have the ability to drain the pool a couple times a year and then refill it back up. So the liquid chlorine will eliminate that acid problem and thus in turn eliminate the algae blooms we have.
Thank you. Questions?
So is it just the initial upfront capital cost, or is there an annual increase that we'll have to have as far as maintenance or supplies, or
It'd just be the upfront, and then the initial, after that, you're just paying for your chemical.
just the same as if
Just
we're
like we
paying
do
for the
now.
box?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, is the liquid chlorine project actually going to end up saving us money in the long run? Is it going to be cheaper than what we're currently doing?
It's hard. It won't be any more expensive or it'd probably be close to the same, maybe a little bit of savings in that, but you won't see a significant increase by any means.
Gotcha.
What's the lifespan of this system that we're looking at?
That's a great question, and I might have to defer to Jay on that one if you've talked to
Jay,
Andrew with
technical
Commercial
matter?
about that.
It's roughly 15 to 20, so if not more, if it's maintained right, so.
Good, thank you.
Hey, real quick, Jay, while you're up there, I know that, okay, so maybe the chlorine isn't cost savings, but overall, with us not having to drain the pools and redo the water, there will be cost savings in that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And we will not have to add as much our other chemicals to help balance the water's pH level, because with our algae blooms, we're having to use a lot more of all our chemicals, not just the chlorine pucks.
Okay.
So this will help alleviate all that, and the safety and convenience of it will also help all the workers and everyone, all the city workers and us, take care of it a lot better and safely.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure that there was cost savings reflected and that the people know that we're, doing it for cost savings and convenience, so.
Any other comments or questions?
I just throw in, even if it's a net neutral in cost savings, I think that there's a quality of life component. If the pool is closing for a few days in the summer, it gets people pretty upset, and they want to be able to use the pool when it's open, and I think that's another consideration as well.
Anybody else? Thank you, Matt.
You bet.
Do I have any from the public would like to comment? Do I have a motion?
I motion to approve the pool project.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passed. Thank you, Jay. And for those people who are wondering maybe why Jay got up and went to the back, is he works for Baldwin City Parks and Rec. So we wanted to make sure there was no appearance of any kind of conflict of interest. He was very gracious to come up and ask the technical questions, which he knows and should be allowed to do. So that's why this happened the way that it did. Thank you, Jay. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. The next thing we're going to cover is the bond for projects. Russ?
And I'm going to have Ben from Baker Tilly speak on this.
Good evening. Most of you know me, but if you don't, I'm Ben Hart of Baker Tilly, and actually the city supervisor, myself and Matt Long, ones that worked with Scott in the finance committee. What did you have my presentation by any chance? Yeah, I was just showing other stuff first. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's fine. Because it's got that same. What I want to do is two different things. One, I want to go over the projects, and then two, I want to touch on the process for the temporary notes, and then kind of press one point that we'll talk about at the end. But the first slide up here, go to the next one, shows that temporary notes will be issued with the first column, the total city expense, 3 projects, pedestrian crossing, the corridor project or management project, 2.6 million, and the Maple Leaf Trail, 267,000. So the temporary notes will be issued in $3.1 million. They'll actually be a term of 24 months, 2 years. That allows the state to get the reimbursements back and the construction to take place. We'll actually have it callable, so if we need to pay it off earlier than 24 months, we can do that. We'll do that callable at 12 months. So that way, if we get done in 18 months, we can pull the trigger and issue a bond issue. So we don't have to go for, another 6 months of interest cost. So the KDOT reimbursements is the next column. That shows you what they'll pay us, the estimate of what they'll pay us, which gets us to the final bond amount, which is just south of $1 million. Now, this is the project cost. Obviously, when you carry temporary notes, you'll be adding interest onto that. So it'll be about $1 million, plus or minus. The bond issue would, at this point, and we're forecasting it out 10 years, it will not cause any increase in taxes. In fact, we've got 3 bond issues that are decreasing rapidly. By 2028, 2029, we'll have around almost $300,000 less in the debt service fund that needs to be paid out. So the debt service will cover maybe a third of that, right? So it's not going to cause any increases in taxes and no mill levy at all for this. If you go to the next slide, if you would. So the city expense, 3.1 million is the temporary note. That final bond column, it shows 940,000. There's 3 items in there that we need to clean up. And I talked to Russ a little bit about this before I came in. The police building, there's an overage around 367 that's been sitting out there as a deficit in that project that just needs to get closed up. This bond issue is an ability to issue that money and actually close that project out. Elm Street overage is just 96,000. What I'm going to ask you is if we can we can work with the finance committee. I believe this can be covered with carry forward cash from the general fund from last year. Don't have to bond it at all. Community center is the next item. This is actually tagged for the tax credit that we talked about when the community center was built. This place was built. That's still in play. We wouldn't touch any of this stuff until 2028. So the temporary notes would come due about May. So we'd be talking about this with the budget next year as we talk about 2028's budget. And hopefully that Elm Street, we can get that cleaned up this year and that goes away. Community center, I'm assuming the tax credits will be working through the process here in the next 12 months. So I've got a pretty positive feeling about that. We'll end up with the 940,000 plus the police building overage is what I would actually suggest bonding, but there's no decisions tonight that's needed. It's just more transparency than anything. And the positive news, no new taxes. We can do this, we can layer this in to the first schedules as things fall off, we can layer things in there. So that's really good news. So I'm not going to bore you with the details on how a bond issue is issued. There's a lot of work that takes place. Most of it's on our side. Since we do the budget for the city, all of it's on our side. There's a little bit of it on you guys' side just to be able to approve a few things. And that's what I wanted to press here. So with in concurrence of the city council, what we do is start in February and it would run till May, right? The process is about a 12-week window. It's a 3-month window from the time we kick it off to the time we actually close the bonds and have the money. But you go to the second one. There you go. The bolded item is really what would come back to the city council. And what this is called, this council considers a sale resolution. This is actually just a resolution that we can show the bond market to say, yes, the city is serious about issuing these bonds. Here it is. And really, I say bonds, the temporary notes, the 2-year temporary notes. It just shows some seriousness that we're moving forward. It's not legally required, but it's nice to have. So we do this with all of our sales. That'll actually be the first time you'll see the temporary notes and have us move forward with them. And then we put together what's called a POS, preliminary official statements, a really thick piece of offering document to the market. Typically, a finance director would do that or somebody within the city. I typically handle that, so our office fills out that POS and I gather the data that we've already got and fill it out. One of the nice things about doing a temporary note is we'll actually have that thing rated. We'll have a credit rating done. The last time we had a credit rating, it was a challenge. Went from a double A down to an A, and most of it was centered around the general fund. And the general fund, by the end of 25, that fund balance is healthy. And that's one of the reasons you want that reserve is obviously you want the lowest interest rate you can find. And the higher the rating, the lower the interest rate. But my argument, can't guarantee it, but my argument this year is we've got a trend of positive additions to fund balance. We need to reconsider that A going back up to a double A3. And that's exactly where we need to be. Now, they got to make the argument that we'll do it. But in the back of the house up in Minnesota where our folks are from, the people that support us here, I'm going to have them go through the financials and actually put together a scorecard before we ever get to that rating point so we know what the weaknesses look like. And I can bring that back to the finance committee so you guys can see what that looks like. But that'll be March when we do that. The next item that you guys will see is the day of the sale. When we do the sale, it'll be a bid site. And what happens is the institutional buyers will log on and register for the actual sale. When they'll actually submit bids on interest rates, we won't see them until the clock stops. So if it's 11 o'clock sale, when it hits 11 o'clock, we can open everything up and see who the winners are. Typically, we have anywhere from 3 to 9 bids this last year. That kind of shows you what the market would look like. It's self-driven. By having a lot of competition, it drives the market down. What we see as institutions, they'll put a bid in, wait until 30 seconds is left. They'll know who else put bids in and what their interest rate formulas are or close to. They'll pull their bid out and put another one back in that's lower. So you can see this constant back and forth. We typically like to set up a Teams call so the city staff can actually watch this happen. Once it's done, it's done. I mean, it's maybe a 5-minute call. But then we work with bond counsel to get everything solidified. We'll bring the actual results back to this body. You'll see everybody that bid and what those rates were and what the spread was. I'll come back and kind of walk through everything with you. Won't take but maybe 15 minutes, but it'll show you what all happened, how many banks actually bid on it. Now, this is a national market, so this will go nationwide. It's not just the local banks. And typically, it's an institutional buyer, the big funds, insurance companies that actually invest money. That's who's usually after this. There are investment companies that want only Kansas paper. They want Kansas issues. That's what they do. They only invest in, because they've got clients in Kansas and they can get that tax exemption. If you live in Kansas, there's tax exemption. It's a federal exemption as well on the tax exempt bond issues. And then by the end of May, we're looking at closing the deal out and transferring proceeds, and we'd have the money to do it. Now, one of the other things is if this project gets started before we have the money, then we have an ability to borrow from the general fund and pay it back with the temporary notes. So it doesn't stop our process whatsoever. We can move forward with the process.
Good.
I think that's the last slide. Yeah, okay, so this is just conclusions. You guys can read. May 5th would be the sale.
Ben, what do you expect the 2-year temp note to be interest rate wise and
I can only tell you what they are now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, the two-year temporary notes right now is around 4%. Bond issues on an average are, and this shows you where the market's at. Usually the interest rates start real low when you get to years 1 and 2 of bond of issues, around 3.6, and then it kind of comes up and flattens out. Around now, it's straight across. It's flatter a pancake. So a bond issue is around 3.6. Temporary notes are around 4%. Now this is in May, so it's another 5 months down the road. We've got a couple FOMC meetings in there. We'll see. It's really market driven. So I like to see if it's bad for your 401k, it's good for the bond market. That kind of tells you where the interest rates usually are. And when I say good for the bond market, from your perspective, yields are usually pretty low.
So
Does that rate, I'm assuming it varies based off of your basic, I forget what you called it, but credit score, credit rating.
It does.
So are the numbers you just said, is that based off of A or double A?
That's based off A, right?
So we could have lower.
You could have it, you definitely could have lower.
Okay.
We've seen them this year, temporary notes at 2 years going out 3 and 3.2%. AAAs have come in at the same day at 3.5%. That just shows you the number of bidders really matter on what that rate looks like.
Yeah.
Your credit score will set up a table, if you will, but then banks, if they get competitive, they don't care what that rating is anymore. They want the money. And usually the bigger the bond issue, 3.2 million, that's a sizable one for what some of them,
Yeah.
some of the banks.
Okay.
That's a good question.
All right. Thank you.
So on these temp notes, though, the principal and interest payments start immediately.
Yeah, the choice you have is actually capitalize the interest. In other words, you put the interest in the bond issue so you don't pay anything, or you can pay it as cash through the term of the bond. We typically just roll it all up into that one. Like I said, we'll borrow the 3.1 million, and then the interest that goes with that, we'll roll it up into it.
Got it. Thanks.
Any other questions? Russ? Nothing? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you bet.
Anyone from the public care to comment on anything? No? Do I have a motion?
We don't have, there's no.
Nothing in the motion? Okay, thank you. Okay, then how about utility rate discussion?
I guess I just got some things for the council to be thinking about, some decisions, and obviously we got some community feedback, and that's, I mean, everybody's gonna have to come to their own conclusion on what they think's the best path forward. But it will be a conversation around rates and reserve fund, right? So typically, it's good to have an idea of where you think the city ought to end the year in a reserve fund, and that will set the rate. So be thinking about that, and I don't need to tell you that, but I thought I'd just articulate it. The other thing is that we have on the bond debt amount that we're pulling out as a separate line, we can do that one of several ways. As far as what that amount should be, we can just do the straight amount that's needed for that principal and interest payment for the full year for just that year, and that would set the monthly rate. Something else to consider is using a 3-year average of the debt. And what that would do is, if you have a large increase, obviously you're going to get a third of it, and it would really just smooth out both the increases and the decreases from hitting the bill all at once. So it's a negative when we drop a bond off and you don't get all that in that year, but it also protects you the other way. So that's something we need to discuss, because that would need to be put in the ordinance, that we would base that debt payment for that utility off the 3-year debt average. Okay, and we can come and show you what those are for each fund, so we know what those numbers are. We can tell you, what they are this year, what the 3-year would be, and so it just fundamentally it just is a shock absorber for large changes. So be thinking about that. And then the other thing we're going to have to add that's not there today, and that's something that doesn't have to happen, but the MCI increase, automatic increase, is not a part of the wastewater ordinance. So if you think that's important to have, we'll need to add that to the wastewater ordinance, whatever rate we decide on.
Just to clarify, Scott, so you're saying that right now, the wastewater doesn't have that 15 to 25%?
No, that's the reserve fund policy.
Okay.
That's just a policy for all our funds. What it doesn't have is an automatic increase to whatever the rate was at the end of the year of whatever the MCI is. Like this year's 2.9.
Right.
So if a future council or this council takes no action in changing the rate, it goes up automatically. Okay, so what that does is make sure that you are not getting in a situation where your costs are going up and your rates aren't, and your reserve fund's coming down. So that's that little annual increase to cover the inflation, increased costs of that. It's a municipal municipal cost index.
Right.
So it kind of measures what it costs for these municipalities that have utilities to buy things, just like the CPI does. So had we had that on the electric fund for the last 4 or 5 years, the rate increase we needed last year would not have been nearly as large.
Right.
So it's a matter of, do you get it ahead of time, or do you ask the citizens when you need it? And those are the fundamental decisions, and you could go either way. So be thinking about that. That's all I had.
You have comments, questions?
Yeah, I got a couple questions. Jerry, what are your thoughts on the utility rates?
My thoughts on it? Like anybody else, I'd like to really keep it as low as possible, but the problem is we're going to have to increase. I mean, it's just, as Peter pointed out earlier, and like we said, it's just an issue of we can't get behind the curve on this again. We need to stay consistent. We need to make sure that we are good stewards of our citizens' money and of making the right decisions. And I just think we need to stay the course, and we're going to have to. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And, Jay, you and I have discussed this before. Do we want it to be outrageous? No, we're going to try to save as much money as we can, but folks, I'm sorry. It's just going to have to happen. Thank you. Any other comments? None? Move on to utility reports. Budget and finance?
Do we, yeah. Do we need to do any public comment or open it up?
Yeah.
We usually do public comment at the end of every agenda item.
Yeah, and I asked and everyone sat there, so, yeah, thank you. So with that said, then we'll move on to council committee reports.
Budget and finance, we did meet, and a lot of effort went into generating what you guys saw. Thank to Russ and Matt at Baker Tilly and Ben for just running through the estimates and the iterations of the different scenarios. So we spent all our time on that. And our next meeting is this Friday, 9 a.m., City Hall.
Okay.
For CDC, we usually go CDC next, if that's all right. We did meet. We met on the 26th. That's really echoey. I had a couple agenda items. The one we primarily wanted to talk about was the public consumption that was approved by the state. Kind of talking about maybe a good event to kind of try that one out. Discussed it a little bit in the meeting. It was a quick review for some folks. The common consumption is having the boundaries downtown where people could openly consume alcohol for certain events. We left it when we voted on it, I think a year or so ago, to where it wouldn't be just a wide open deal or even specifically like a Friday through Sunday deal. We all voted that it would be event-based only. So, you know, you pick an event, okay, well, maybe we'd like to open up the zoning for this, so the borders for the consumption district for this. I had been working a little bit as far as getting educated on it with our ABC agent, our alcohol beverage control agent, who at the time was a fellow named John Lafferty. It has since changed to a new guy. His name is Nicholas Gray. I reached out to both of them and asked first the committee if they'd be open to doing some, because John had offered it a while ago, to doing some education, just 'cause I think it's a pretty daunting task for a town to start doing, is opening up a boundary for alcohol to be consumed publicly on the streets, et cetera. And he suggested it as well, and he's been through, I think, a few of these. John specifically, I think Nicholas is just kind of getting into it. They both agreed to come to the next CDC meeting and kind of do some education on that, kind of some things they've learned, what's worked, what hasn't. And that would actually time really nicely for the St. Patrick's Day Parade as maybe a trial deal, kind of get some ground underneath us and sample it and see how it goes. So they're going to come on the 23rd of February. We did move it up to 3 o'clock instead of 4, just 'cause that's kind of the end of their day, and I think they're coming in from at least Johnson County. So inviting everyone to come to that, any businesses downtown, anybody in general who would have something to say or enjoy some education or some feedback. I think the more we can learn, the better. I think for law enforcement specifically, with Chief, kind of getting as much information under us as possible. I know Russ sent out some of that as well. So again, that would be the next meeting, February 23rd, 3 o'clock, second floor, City Hall. The only other thing we really talked about, a couple of the CDC agenda items, and this tends to happen on CDC, is it's kind of an incubator for topics, and then it kind of gets kicked out to subcommittee. For example, we had the Lake Committee started off at CDC, and that went out, and then the Community Center started off at CDC, and then that went into its own committee. We had another agenda item rolling that decided it was better fit in another committee. So we kind of start some things, and they kind of get shipped out. So we kind of did a little brainstorming and thought of some maybe future topics that we can maybe be proactive in getting in the CDC realm. So other than that, we will be planning on meeting February 23rd, second floor City Hall, Monday at 3 o'clock. That's it.
That's genius, Corey, shipping out all the hard work.
It's really, it took me a couple of years to figure out.
You could do that.
Oh, okay, that is a good point. We did talk about actually having it in here, if it is open. Because I forgot to mention that. We didn't want to cram into the second floor of the City Hall. I'm just used to saying that at this point.
All? Thank you. Jay?
Public safety, we did not meet since the last meeting, and I need to send out emails for to get the next one on the agenda.
Thank you. Public Works?
We haven't met since the last meeting, and our next meeting is February 12th at 9 o'clock at the Public Works Building.
Okay, thank you. Scott?
No strategic planning committee meeting and none on the calendar at this time.
Good, thank you. Jay, doubling back to you.
Yeah, we haven't met, but since the last meeting, because we were supposed to meet tonight. So we're going to meet next Tuesday in the executive room at 6:30. But we got some exciting news going. I talked to you guys last time about the grants, and we're moving forward with them. We just met with Douglas County out at the lake last week, and the lady from the county said that we are in prime position for one of the grants, and we learned that we could potentially use that grant to match the federal grant. So if we were blessed to get the federal grant as well, we could use that to match and hopefully get this project really going forward. If we just use the county grant, it's looking like we might be able to do work in May to June potentially. If we feel that we are moving in the right direction on the federal grant, then we may hold off. And that would probably not happen until November. So we'll just have to play that by ear. But we are After 6 months, we are finally getting some traction, and everyone that's on the lake committee, I'd just like to say thank you for everything you guys are doing, because they are the warriors on the ground, and they are doing an amazing job. And so I cannot stand up here and take the credit for what they're doing. I am just their spokesperson, but they are a very passionate group, and I really hope that we can help see this through, because they're fighting hard for it, and so.
Good. Good progress. Thank you, sir. Going to move on now to city administrator.
So I just have a couple comments. One, there's been a lot of questions about the water line. And I just kind of want to give just a quick update on where we are with the water line to Lawrence. I'm currently working with a firm out of Lawrence they did the grant writing for us on the Rails to Trails. Been working with them. There's a couple grants through a couple different state agencies that we could potentially apply for. Those grants have not came out yet. They're supposed to hit around March timeframe, end of February, first part of March is what they're thinking. The hope with that is that hopefully that would help us kind of move forward with covering the design process for that water line. So.
Good.
As soon as I have any more information, I'll be glad to update the council.
Good. Thank you. Any other counselor?
I have some things I want to say, but I would let anyone else go since mine might be a little bit lengthier.
I am now, thank you. I do want to remind all the council members that we are members with the League of Municipalities for Kansas. They do send out really helpful emails with great educational material regarding the Meetings Act, Open Records Act, and I would just really encourage you all to make sure that you're taking advantage of that membership. They do have some really good updates and meetings coming up and training opportunities for February, some of which are free, some of which are very low cost that you can attend virtually over your lunch break. Get your sandwich and learn all about the Open Records Act. It's very entertaining. But I would really encourage you all to take advantage of that to make sure that we're in compliance with things. They're also keeping you updated on some of the legislative updates that are happening. There are some very big, scary bills out there that may very well pass that will absolutely affect our budget going forward. So I would encourage you to kind of watch those, and if you feel very strongly against those, they are asking for testimonies that you can send via video or send them a letter and they will read it for you. You don't actually have to go down in person to advocate in Topeka, and just to let everyone know what's going on and how that would affect our town, because there are a lot of really big, scary bills out there that I'm hoping a lot of them don't pass, but if they do, I'll keep you all on the loop.
Well, good. Thank you.
I'll just second that. I would recommend the mayor and the new council just to take advantage of those, and if there's an entry fee, city pays for it, but it does get you up to speed pretty quickly on some of the basic, open meetings laws and some of the things that are happening in the legislature that you ought to be aware of. And it'd be nice if we can go look for it. It'd be nice if we kind of published that internally ourselves. If we if you had access or knew something was coming up that you thought would be interesting, just shooting a note to council so we know and can take advantage of that.
Yeah, it might be cleaner if I just notify, like, for example, like if it's going to affect the budget, I'll just notify the budget committee perhaps. So that way we're not looking at, because at some point you do violate Open Meetings Records Act if you're doing persistent electronic communications to the entire group. You have to be, it's tricky doing mass emails to the group, because at some point it ends up being a meeting if everyone's hitting reply all.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what you learn. You can't hit
Yeah,
reply.
that is one of the things you learn.
I don't think we
You gotta
did
be
it.
careful.
I don't think we've done it yet.
No, but yeah, you can send mass emails, you just can't reply. So those are the things you learn.
Yeah. as attorney, I would say don't ever hit reply all unless you really want to hit reply all. But yes, that is definitely,
Just trying to figure out a way that we could, you know, without having to monitor it ourselves, routinely know what's coming up, and we can talk about it later.
yeah, I think, I'll double check, but I think it can come from a individual person can send it, but I'll blind copy everyone if that happens, so you don't accidentally hit reply all and
That's the
create
way
an
to do
open
it.
meeting.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, thanks.
Good, thank you. Any other staff? Corey?
Yeah.
I got something real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jay.
As you said, you might be lengthy, so mine's not as lengthy. Just backtracking to the last meeting when we were talking about sending stuff out for RFP. I just let the council know I will be bringing an ordinance to the next council meeting to kind of keep that going. I just don't want it to get on the back burner and then be forgotten. So just didn't want anyone to be blindsided. And this was the first opportunity to legally do it with not violating the Open Records Act. So just that's coming down the pipe. So.
Yeah, I'll segue in. My concerns come out of the last meeting as well. I felt it was pretty messy. I felt that the conversation surrounding the appointments, that I was unheard, and my concerns may have been dismissed because I was possibly whining about not getting my appointment. And I think a lot of what I was saying was lost. And I'd like to clarify a couple things. One is that when we asked for a moment to pause and ask for maybe more time to consider, I felt that we were, as a body, being rushed. I feel that it started to go really quick, and I feel like it was at times misleading, specifically around the statute that says that the governing body has to find that the person who is being considered possibly not get appointed is, quote, unfit. And Jessica, you use that word a lot. And it was at several different, your appointment with Peter's appointment. Again, I don't want to get into the weeds about any of that stuff. I really want to make sure that we clarify this statute. I think it's really important that as a body we understand our role and our limitations, and I don't feel like that was maybe conveyed at the last meeting. So I want to go over that statute. The unfit language, I felt, and I'm just speaking for me, but given the pauses that we had where there was no motion, there were long pauses which were interrupted by reminding us that we would have to find them unfit. And it was said in a way that I felt like we were going to have to find something bad about them or nefarious about them. And that's not, when you read the statute and you read the whole statute, that's not what the spirit of that is. And there's even an Attorney General opinion at the end of that statute that specifically says it. It says, unless the governing body makes a specific finding by the passage of a resolution that the person is either unqualified to hold the office or is not fit to hold the office or position. And I feel like had the word unqualified been stressed just as much as the word unfit, and unqualified was only mentioned one time, and it was Jessica when you read the statute, and then we went right back to that unfit. And I feel like if the word unqualified had been equally stressed, the council would have had way more information to make a decision on, rather than feeling that they were calling somebody something nefarious rather than trying to make a good decision for the body. And that one really hung up. Jessica, I actually emailed you the next morning, and I didn't hear back. So I did reach out to the league, and they kind of walked me through some of it.
I emailed you back. I can pull up the email. I emailed you within a few hours of when
I didn't see your email.
I emailed you right back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It went
I didn't
to
see
your
it.
spam folder, but
I could have.
I emailed you immediately after I received that. I think you emailed me early in the morning, and I emailed you right back before lunch, but I
don't have it.
absolutely responded.
It's not in my spam or nothing.
I'm happy to print it out and give you a hard copy if you like, but
Well, I mean, I'd be curious to know what you said. I mean, I emailed you clarifying the statute in general because I was trying to go through the video and I was like, just ask her what the statute is. 'Cause I want to have a conversation about it anyway. And I feel like that was I felt that we were rushed, and Mayor, you were kind of rushing us along too. You said at several points, well, why don't we just do it now and then figure it out later? And I don't think that's how we should be operating as a body. I don't feel like we should feel uncomfortable. And I certainly feel like we should have absolute understanding of what our limitations are as a body and what our checks on the mayor are. Mayor, you have the ability to veto our vote, and that is a massive, massive amount of power. We have to be able to identify if we were to ever come to a situation where the body as a whole, or at least not a supermajority, disagreed with you, and we didn't have the proper guidance on how to do that. That's a major problem, and it's January, and it's the first month of another 4 years of at least, or 2 years of the remaining 3 if we don't get back on, and then the rest of us. So I just want to make sure that we're forming some good habits, and I think that's mostly what I wanted to get out. That I felt that I was unheard. I felt that I was trying to be made, that I was complaining about not getting my appointment and whining about it, and that's not at all what I was doing. I was trying to make clear what our limitations are as a body.
Any other comments?
I also, just to hop on what Corey just said, in my opinion, and I've reached out to the league as well, and the unqualified, they basically stated that the unqualified could be just that, for Peter's instance, he hasn't been on council. In my opinion, I could deem that as unqualified. And that kind of got pushed down, and that's the same thing with the attorney. I do feel that we were rushed, not just by the attorney or the mayor, but people just blurting out in the comments. And I feel that we need to clean that up as well, that when it is public comment time, that is their time to, give whatever they want at us. But if we're just having council discussion, that's not their time. That's our time to express our opinions and our ideas, because we have to be able to feel safe in doing that at that time, because we have to follow the Opens Record Act. So this is our only time to communicate as a whole board. So, and so the unqualified, I think, got pushed down. And so I think just in the future, if we could make these very sensitive decisions, we may have been here another 25, 30 minutes, but we're here for the city. We're here for the community. What's another 25, 30 minutes? I mean, if that's the amount it takes for us to all get on board with something, so we're all comfortable, because we all represent the people, okay? So I do feel that we need to just take that into consideration, that if it's a tied vote or whatever, and one of us is still thinking about it, we should get that time to make sure that our yes or no vote is exactly what we feel passionate about, because we were all elected, and so everyone in this community trusted us to do what's best for the community. And I know we all have different opinions, and that's what's wonderful about this. But we just need to, I think, be a little more sensitive on the timing and all that stuff. So
I do want to add, thank you, Jay. I do want to add that one part that I did leave out, just so that statute is so important, that the Attorney General's opinion is that whether if you do pass a resolution that a person is unqualified or unfit to hold the position, you don't have to give a reason why. And their opinion on that is, I think, basically the spirit saying that The reason that that language is in there at all, and I think the words unfit and unqualified are really strange words to be required to use for somebody when it involves checking the mayor's appointment. But apparently there was a community that there was a library board appointee, and they dragged and dragged and dragged. So they had to put something in there, but also at the same time, they had to respond to it and say that you don't have to give any reason, any logic why. All you have to do is make the passage. It is what it is, and you can move on. And it's important that we all know that that is.
Right, which is why I did read the full statute, just as I did respond to your email. And I also would like to remind the council, I did give options. I didn't force a vote. I didn't say you had to vote. I gave options that we do have 40-something days to, if you want to come to some resolution. After that, as I read in the statute, it is deemed approved. I think y'all took a vote on whether you wanted to table this to have more time to look at everything. That was one of the options I presented, and that's one of the options that y'all voted for. I did read the statute. I'm sorry I wasn't saying the full statute every single time I was reminding everyone of what the law is. If y'all don't mind reaching out to me beforehand, I'm happy to print out the law and have it available for you and available for everyone before the council meeting. It's very difficult to come to a meeting and being told that you are just going to be sitting there, you don't need to advise anyone, and then see things go awry because the law says you shall approve unless they are unqualified or unfit. And then you have to vote on and make a passage if they're unqualified or unfit. It's hard to do that on a tiny iPhone in a few seconds with other people breathing down your neck saying, can they legally do that? Can they legally do that? You know?
I understand.
At the same time, I'm trying to listen and research and look up things and.
I do. And
right, I did the very best I could with what I had. And hold on, I let you talk without interrupting you. I'd appreciate it if I had that same courtesy. Thank you. But it is important that I did list out everything. I did give you all your options, and you had the option to hit pause. That was one of the options given. I'm sorry that I made anyone feel rushed or I hurt. I did not mean for that. But again, if y'all know that some of this stuff is coming up, I'm happy to help you with that. I am your attorney. I mean, that is my job. And I have also spoken to the league about this, and they agreed that I was right when I spoke with them. So, and then they apologized to me if they were not correct in explaining it to the city council members, because when I explained to them what I had said and what I had read and the law that I cited, they told me that I was correct. So I'm going off of, and I talked to the person who talked to you, Corey. Great. So I'm just throwing that out there, but I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but
I don't either,
I do want to make sure everyone understands that I am available if you guys, and I'm happy to help you write that RFP ordinance. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm happy to do that. Or if you want me to take a look at it beforehand, so we make sure that we're in compliance with everything. I mean, I'm not siding with any particular person on the council. I'm here for the city. That's why I took a massive pay cut for this position. Like, I'm not getting paid very much, y'all.
Neither are we.
Yeah, I mean, an attorney, usually an attorney in my position would charge you double. So, I mean, I took this because I love this city. So, and I'm not for any particular person. And I know I'm appointed, and I'm only here for a year. So if you guys don't like me, you can get rid of me. But at the same time, I'm not going to be a yes man. So I'm not yesing anybody.
That's what we
here.
expect and want.
So if you have that ordinance, I'm happy to take a look at it before you present it, or if you're not comfortable and you want to go to the league.
I planned on it.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't hurt my feelings either way.
I planned on it. I wasn't trying to blindside anyone with it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it up that I'm going forward with it, and I didn't want to just drop it on everyone. So that was that. And I'll reiterate that this isn't an attack on anyone personally. This is just to go along with what our mayor is saying, transparency. I'm trying to help us get even more transparent than what we are. And we've made a lot of ground over the last 6 months. I think we have, and I'm just trying to keep pushing us in that direction. That's all I'm after. And I'm not trying to attack anyone personally. I know it could sound like it's a personal attack. That is not what it is. If,
But my email address is, it's just jwortham@baldwincity.gov. So any city questions, city business, feel free to email me. Again, if you're going to be including the whole city council, make sure you blind copy them so no one accidentally hits reply all. But I mean, I'm happy to answer those questions. And again, if you're not comfortable with me and you want to go to the league, it doesn't hurt my feelings, but the league instructed me that after they talk to you guys, they always encourage you to come to me later.
Yeah.
So
That's fine. I just went through my spam. I do not have a message from you. I totally believe you sent it. City email's been a little bit of a thing for me. That's not what I'm disputing at all, and I'm not even disputing anything. I'm wanting to be heard, and I'm wanting to clarify that I'm not trying to say anybody was right or wrong. I'm saying how that message was conveyed and I'm only speaking for myself, but I think it did make us all feel rushed. And you didn't read the statute until way after your appointment and way into our conversation about my appointment or Peter's appointment and my removal of that committee. So the statute was restated, but then right afterwards, I went back and watched it because I was like, am I crazy? Did I really hear all that right? I went back and watched it again, but even after you read the statute, you drove home again. You were like, but you're gonna have to find him unfit, and you really hit that word hard, and that's what was confusing. But there's more to it. There just is, and I'm.
okay. To combat that in the future, Corey, I'm happy to print out the law for you to read, and you don't even have to listen to me. Just read it for yourself. You just let me know what you need, and I'm happy to do that research for you.
Any other comments or?
I'd just like to thank both you guys for clarifying the position. I think, I think what you said holds some weight, and it's hard not to agree with your position. So looking into it further and clarifying it was helpful for me. So thank you.
I appreciate it. It just you don't want to let those things slip through.
Yeah.
Anything else along those lines? I do want to thank Jay King because we had a discussion by phone, and Jay, I agree with you on that RFP, and I like the fact that he said last session, there's a problem here, I'm going to look at it, I'm going to move it forward, and he did. Thank you, Jay. That's good. It didn't languish out there. It's getting handled. Thank you, addressed. Now, on a lighter note for everybody, I was at the library board meeting here last week and sat in on one of their meetings, and I won't take up a lot of people's time because it's getting late, everyone wants to go home, but they're a very humble group of people. They do not like to go through and draw attention to themselves, but they gave me their 2025 annual report, and I'm just going to touch on it real quick. On the column of literacy, they had 291 programs in 2025, 8,052 program attendance on those programs, a total of 39,916 circulation of materials, 4,424 registered library card holders. Now, you ready for this one? 41,629 people visited our library in 2025, up 4,940 from 2024. They had a total of 18,878 hours of computer use there. Now, in our lifelong learning programs, they had 621 registered summer library program participants, 35 summer library program activities, 5,744 total number of books read, 12,307 hours in total number of hours read. I want to say kudos to our library. Good job. I like it. Let's keep it up. And with that, do I have anything else? Anybody want to make a motion?
I move we adjourn.
Second?
a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.